Welcome, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Facebook Live. It is the 7th of September, year 2022. It seems like in some places the fall weather has started in some places, and in some places it is still really hot. So welcome. I'm hoping most of you are affected by the fall weather. Already see that Kelly is outside, so she's enjoying her kind of like getting the cooler weather. So let me introduce everyone that is here on the panel. Kelly, who is a Qigong teacher and a spiritual teacher, is here with us. Good evening, Kelly, and she's a regular member of our panel. Then we have Francesca, who has joined us. Good evening, Francesca. She's part of a core group of meditators. And then we have Patricia, who has joined us as well. Good evening, Patricia. I am grateful. Today, April, I think for the next 3 or 4 weeks, she may not be able to join. She's going to try and join through her cell phone, but she may not have enough reception, so she may not join. She has some personal errand to run. A huge reminder for everyone. I did want to let everyone know September 24th and September 25th, we have our workshop weekend, 5-hour per day. We have a laundry list of session leaders that have joined. Ryan Estimer has joined this time. And Eileen, who has certified as a mindfulness instructor, is going to lead us into meditation at the beginning of the workshop and end the workshop with her meditations. We absolutely love her meditations. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. The whole joy of having this group is one part is the group meditations, but the second biggest enthusiasm I get out of supporting this group is hosting the workshop. So looking forward to it. And Kelly is one of the session leaders. She's doing a session on soul navigation. So Kelly, since you're here, I don't know, maybe were you part of so 2 weeks back, we were talking about, I don't know, somebody may remember what the topic was, but we were talking about that Dr. Joe Dispenza says that, when you do the neural pruning, that you can heal yourself, like you can heal whatever is of your past. But then April brought up the question, and I was saying that you can change whatever what he categorically says is, no matter who you are, no matter what age you are, no matter what food you eat, no matter what fat in age, 90 years old, 80 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, no matter you have cancer, it does not matter. You can pull that experience from that infinite possibilities of you being healed, right? And then April brought up the fact that she feels that the soul plan is going to be the soul plan. And I said, even that is a limiting, yeah, we were talking about limiting belief. And I said,
right, yeah,
yes, that is going to be a limiting belief. So you want to talk about that? That even that is, because I know Kelly, your partner responded on Messenger. We went
right.
back and forth, but we
Oh,
never
yeah,
discussed.
yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
never discussed it here on the Facebook Live, because the
Right.
following week we again had a few more questions,
Hmm.
right? So I want to delve deeper, because I do want to give everyone that is listening the fact that they have the power to heal, no matter like what Dr. Joe Dispenza, how fat you are, how thin you are, how at what age you are, is 60, 70, 80, 90, it doesn't matter. You have stage 4 cancer, you have big tumors, you can heal, but that requires that quantum shift into being a whole different person, and it takes a lot of neural pruning of all your old habits, right? And I know Patricia is going to talk about old habits, but it takes a lot of neural pruning of all your old ways of thinking and believing, and how we were thinking and believing, right? And so if you want to take over, and I'll tag everyone. Okay.
Sure,
Thank you.
that's a big topic to take over now. But I saw some of that discussion and I thought that was great. I didn't get to weigh in at the time. But that is something that you said, that is something that I have believed wholeheartedly for many years, like decades, where I do believe that everybody has the innate power to heal, no matter what condition you have, what you're diagnosed with, or whether it's just emotional or physical. I have believed that, and for myself, I've gone through a lot of those changes and transformations in different ways, and had diagnoses that kind of catapulted me into a new version of myself, because I'm like, well, I don't really like this version. I want to be healthy. I want to be better. And I do believe that even aging is a program. And I know that when I say that, people might be like, well, what do you mean? Like we get old and eventually we pass away. And yes, that is part of our reality currently. But just for a second, think about, like, what if it wasn't? What if it's not? What if it's just something that we actually believe happens? So I'm not trying to convince everybody here that, we have to do it, but I do believe that aging even is a program that we could, and that's kind of my quest as a person. And whether or not I achieve that in the next lifetime or not is okay. But I do believe that we have the power to even overcome that, where we can actually live really long, healthy lives, because we can actually let go of all of the things that don't serve us anymore. And I know in that discussion, I think there was a question about, because I've heard other people say this too, that in the past, that, well, I was told by a psychic or something that I'm going to pass away when I'm 88 years old. And I thought, but right there, you've had someone tell you that, and then they're planting that seed in you to say that that's what's going to happen. Why does that have to happen then? Because there's been a lot of books that I've read, or in spiritual books that I've read, that we actually have a choice all the time, whether or not we're going to stay or whether or not we're going to go. And there can be, I've evolved too, but from that point, but I know there's certain things I've read that there's exit points in our life where we have the choice whether or not we're going to get really sick, or maybe it's an accident or something, that we have that choice that, oh, here's an exit point. Are we going to or not? So that's an idea, that could be also a limiting idea, but I love the idea, and I want to embody that idea, that we have a choice in how we live and how healthy we live, and that we have the opportunity at every moment to change our body and to change our chemistry inside. And I know there was a few years ago, I was diagnosed with, I had found these little bumps like in my armpit, and I thought, oh my gosh, I think I was around 35. And I thought, oh no, like, why do I have, like, what is this? Why do do I have cancer? What's happening? And it turned out to be that a strain of like the flesh eating disease. And I couldn't take the penicillin, like the antibiotics they wanted me to take were, I was allergic to them. So I had to find natural ways of helping my body. And basically for a month, all I did was, and I was fortunate at the time that I could do that. All I did was focus on my healing. And I watched a lot of, I don't know if anyone ever watches the Greg Braden videos, where he talks a lot about quantum healing. And that was what I focused on, was giving myself love, asking my body what kind of messages it had for me. And I took supplements, like, I can't remember all the things that I took now. I'd have to look them up. But it's not like I didn't do anything. Like, I had to rest a lot, and there was a lot of things that I did at the time. But it really showed me that we do have the power to create the kind of health that we want to have. So I know that maybe that's a unique situation, but that was my experience. But it's something that when I talk to people who take our classes or other clients, that it's something that I want to plant that seed in people, is that you have so much more power over your reality and over your body being healthy than we're led to believe. So I don't know if I've answered the question or not. Now people have more questions, but
Beautiful. I think that's exactly what he says is because our old self, right? Somewhere where we were maybe one is because we may think and this is for everyone, and I feel it so working in corporate America, in jobs, even the slightest thing, right? Okay, this little equipment didn't get delivered, becomes like a high stress situation. No, it has to be done right now. Like I remember there's something called an SFP. We were missing an SFP. It's like a little transceiver. I don't know what the kitchen table English for it would be. And it had to go to Brazil. And I remember my manager making me go to somewhere to another manager, go get it shipped and all that. It was like 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, like past the common
right.
close of business, right? And then I'm realizing this will take 2 months because when you ship something from the US to Brazil, it'll sit like back tax, this tax paperwork and all that. It'll take 2 months. What's the point in making me go in the evening? Right? I could
Yeah,
have waited until the next day. Anyway, it's
yeah,
good, but no, it had to be done. Like the stress of things, right? So
right.
even though we think that we are doing our normal job, we are in high stress, like a lion is attacking us,
Yes, yes, yeah. And
right?
it's interesting that we're talking about this because I was just reading a book yesterday called The Resonance Effect, and I can send that the title and everything to people. But that's what she was talking about, is that a lot of our diseases are stress related, and that we don't have the right frequencies to be able to have our body run optimally because we're in a stress mode all the time. Like,
Exactly.
and when she talks about the stress, that when your body's under that kind of stress, like fight or flight, it's only meant to last for 20 minutes. But when you have chronic stress like that for years, because basically what it does is it shuts down certain body conditions, because within 20 minutes, you're either going to be dead by that mountain lion or you're going to survive. That's
Right.
that's one of your two things, right?
Right.
So, but when you have that response that happens for, and it was fascinating to read the page after page, like like physiologically, like what happens in your body. You just go, oh my god, so what happens to your body when you've had years and or decades of anxiety or stress, right?
Yes.
And I was like, I'd known that before, but to read it on that scale was just like almost mind-blowing. And I was like, wow, no wonder we have such a difficult time um elevating our vibration, or that we do tend to get sick sometimes, because it's a lot. Like our jobs can demand a lot from us, our families, things. And if we don't know how to mitigate that stress response or to get it to calm down, it's the same response as when someone cuts you off in traffic and you
Hmm.
almost get hit.
Hmm.
That's the same response, and then your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system should calm down. But in some people it doesn't, it's always running,
Running.
and
Hmm.
that's just exhausting. It's
Yes.
exhausting. Yeah.
And that's what he says is it's like the deer. Caesar, since you joined late, I just spontaneously posed this question and Kelly's answering it. It's remember 2 weeks back, I think you were here where April was saying that we were talking about limiting beliefs, and then I was saying Dr. Joe Dispenza says that you can neural prune, you can finally pull out of that infinite potential, a potential where you can completely heal. And she said, but the soul has a soul plan. And Kelly's partner had on our live panel chat stated some things, right? So we're discussing that, that no, even if you have a soul plan, you can change it out of your intention, because your intention is what is going to set that. Okay. So
Agree.
going back to Kelly and the stress. So what he says is, if you were in a deer and a lion was coming to you, what happens to the deer or to all of us is our the adrenaline will take us to our extremities. Like it wants, because it's getting ready to uh, uh, the flight syndrome, right? The deer is wanting to run. So that's why there is no energy in the midsection of the body. And that's where the disease is.
Mhm.
Because the energies is going to the extremities all the time when we are, like you said, right? Constantly in that fight, flight, fight,
Yeah.
fight, flight mode.
Mm.
And we've done it for 20 years, 30 years, 33 years. He uses a generic figure. He says 33.3 years. But he does say that finally, when we learn to not think and believe like our past, like thinking and believing, as in thinking and believing thoughts of fear, thoughts of and that's why Eckhart's observation of the mind is necessary, right? So thoughts of guilt, thoughts of shame, thoughts of blame, when we stop acting. And it followed that, Francesca, the following week we were talking about the same thing, because we talked about using the word change, which is what he says in Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. But he says, as we prune away those neural circuits, then our intention that says, I want to heal, I want to heal, I want to heal, is the predominant intention. And we draw all the energy from the other neural circuits and they prune away. And this heal, I want to heal, is the dominant energy, and that's what then we heal. But that's the intention, that needs to be the living force. So all he has a meditation called reconditioning the body to a new mind, which is like inserting these emotions of courage, emotions of empowerment, emotions of divine, your divine,
Mhm.
so that we can feel it in our body, because our body wants to take us back to the
Yeah.
past, right? Our body
Yeah.
wants to take us back to the fear, or body wants to take us back to the, it's learned 30 years or 40 years of
Yeah.
fight and
It's a
flight,
lot.
right?
Well,
So
that's why Kelly and I always talk about, like, it's not just feeling it in your head or think, feeling the emotion or crying or being angry, but like when you are angry or when you're fearful, okay, get yourself out of here and go in here. What does it feel like in your stomach? What is that emotion doing to your stomach? What is it doing? Maybe it's in your left knee. Who knows, right? Like you can hold things in different parts of your body that we don't know. Like today I was actually asking my body, because now that I'm recalibrating and I'm healing my hips more, there's like this one spot, and the chiropractor and massage therapist we're working on one area, and I'm like, well, it's not working because it's not staying. Like you can adjust it and it'll feel better for a while, but it's not staying in alignment. So I was asking myself, well, then what is it? Because when something's out of alignment somewhere, maybe that's not the problem, but that's where it's showing up. So it's always important to try to look at a symptom. So even going back to the example of being angry, your anger is a symptom of something deeper. So, or even your sadness or grief, like that's a symptom of something deeper. So where are you holding that in your body? Where are you feeling it or not feeling it? And so look for the source of that, right? So it's always try to go to the source of something rather than just, oh, look at this symptom. Because our egos do like to go, oh, look at this symptom over here. Look at that. Look at this. And it doesn't want you to go in deeper and try to feel beyond that. That's why we get triggered and things will come back. And for me, especially if the same thing comes back over and over again, I know that I got to flip the coin around and look underneath, because the shiny part on top isn't what I need to see. There's something that's dirty underneath.
Mhm. Beautiful, incredible. Thank you so much, Kelly. Caesar, do you want to talk about this? That even if something was written in our soul plan, we can always overwrite it, and that's our that's the intention.
Yeah. So, I mean, beautiful explanation by Kelly. It's brilliant. Love the analogy. So yeah, and it starts with, the awareness of being able to change the patterns of, what's happening inside. Like she just said, everything's surface. You look at the surface, just like our medical profession, they're trained to treat the symptom, not the cause. And it's kind of what we learned growing up in school. They don't teach us how to love ourselves. They don't teach us, yeah, where the pineal gland is, the most important, organ in your body. Um, so for me, it was to help me like make that a practice to change the behaviors and the way I responded, and with illnesses and stuff like that, and trying to heal myself. It was and still is a play of the words. So instead of saying, I'm a little worried about this, now I'll say I'm concerned about this, and things of that nature. So I try to use positive affirmations through words, to help heal, um, you know, illnesses and the stinking thinking patterns and stuff like this. Yeah, 30, 40, 50 years of conditioning is tough to change. But until you go inside, like Kelly was saying, then, change on the surface is really almost senseless, and it practically is completely senseless, because you can change the things you do, but unless you change the way you're thinking, because it is our thinking that progresses our illness and disease and pain. What is pain? Pain is blocked energy that just takes on a story. We're taught that pain is ouch and it hurts. You can change the story of that pain. Um, that's another learned conditioned behavior. So when we think things are, see, our natural instincts are very few, to procreate, and things of this nature, as eat, survive, hunt. And when we're faced with fears, and that's what I think we're talking about, is the fight or flight. I liked how you expressed that all the energy goes to the extremities. Um, this is true. So it's taking away from your power centers, and unless you really, change, like you said, I'm just reiterating what you guys have both just said, change the thinking. So something I heard from a great G master was to smile at your heart and smile at your organs, when you go into somewhat of a meditative state. Um, and that allows that portion, what you're talking about, Poonam, to heal. Because these are usually, they're getting the exercise, repetition all day, and it keeps the flow of energy and the flow of blood moving more so than it does in these areas when the energy is directed through, fear to get out here and do this and take off. So, and a lot of it boils down to our diet as well. That has everything to do with assisting the soul in changing its behaviors, um, what it signed up for, and how it's tuned in from birth. Because I believe at birth it's perfect, and everything that stinks is a learned behavior. It's like, just like Eckhart says, problems are illusions. So is that a problem if you're really come face to face with the tiger? No. um, Fight or flight. I'm pretty sure I don't want to fight the tiger. So yeah, I'm gonna run and maybe even try and fly. um, so yeah, I mean, for me, it would start with the play of words, and And I try not to say anything negative, especially when I'm referring to myself or, there's an illness, because I don't want to strengthen that. The attention, like you were saying, is to heal um, whatever it is you're trying to heal, whatever it is wrong with you. And every bit of negativity is going to stop the flow of cells rejuvenating back to perfection. So resistance, same thing. Any little instance throughout the day that you hold resistance for or just do not accept is a little piece of the puzzle that helps aid the disease or the sickness or the illness or the pain. It's through the intention 100%, I believe, that we can change that. I believe we can heal any and every part of our body naturally. And 90% of it, I believe, is going to be through the intention, and the awareness that you can do it. And maybe the other 10% might be diet, what you put into your body. And I thought I heard you say last or the week before, Poonam, that there is literally, something in nature that can aid in curing any disease known to man or any illness known to man. It might not be the actual thing that does it, but it's going to play as the assistant to this, to the power of intention. So it's kind of all I got there.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Caesar. And I actually, what I love about every time that you appear, Caesar, you actually embody Dr. Joe Dispenza says that's where we need to be, is in a state of gratitude 24/7, all the time, right? Be in the state of receivership. He uses words like, how does an unlimited genius move and act in this world, right? So every second, like if an old thought comes, right? Like I maybe, my car needs repair. That's an old thought, right? Like the fear of maybe something is going to happen to the car. I go, but what does an unlimited genius, how does an unlimited genius act and move in this world, right? And
Absolutely.
then the thought immediately drops away. So that's what is very inspiring about you. It's all inspiring about you, that you, no matter what's going on in your life, you move and live like an unlimited genius, that you're a healer, you're the mystic, that the power is within you, right? So,
I'm humbled. I'm truly humbled. Thank you.
thank you. And the reason why you saw like a shift in me is because of the medical medium protocol, right? I actually 2 years back, I had this uh, like pain in my calf, right? And I would take Advil and arnica gel. Like I would try to be very, try and use normal things, not like do too much. I didn't know that if I drank a lot of Gatorade, it would be okay, right? Like if I went on a hike, 8 mile hike, I drank a lot of Gatorade, that it would be okay. But my best friend, she would go, and with who I would go on a hike, she would go, why are you drinking so much sugar? Right? Because, and then she would be the one that would be like the voice of consciousness talking to me. She would go talk about fatty liver. She was doing a lot of Dr. Mark Hyman's work. So she would talk about fatty liver or leaky gut syndrome, like, what is like very in the, what are they called? Integrative medicine world, like the language of integrative medicine. She would talk a lot about it. So that's when I went on to this medical medium. She's the one who shared out in 2020, shared out a post from medical medium. And I don't know why, it just attracted me. I couldn't do the ketogenic diet, but the moment medical medium, like I started looking at some of his stuff, I was like, this I can do. And I don't know when the neuropathy is gone. The pain in the calf is gone. I don't take Advil anymore. I don't apply arnica gel. Like it's my arnica gel at home is actually expiring, I think. I have not used it. I have not used antihistamine because one of the things everyone needs to realize is if we want to raise our vibrational frequency, right, our neurons, our nerves, central nervous system, our phrenic nerve and vagus nerve have to work very smoothly. Like there has to be lubrication, as Sadhguru says, right? And if we have antihistamines or if we have caffeine, it's going to interrupt.
There's no way he gets.
It's going to interact with and actually it causes a disturbance like the neuronal activity when we have caffeine and if we have antihistamine, it disturbs our nervous system. So when Sadhguru said that, I stopped using antihistamines, and this year I even dropped the caffeine since it's not part of the medical medium protocol. So the more we can make our nervous system smooth, the more we have the ability to raise our vibrational frequency. You were going to say something, Caesar?
Yeah, just how when you was just saying how you know found medical medium, and prior to that you was trying the keto diet or whatever it was. Yeah, you had the desire, you set the intent, and then you simply aligned with it, and it showed up.
Yes.
Manifestation 101, baby.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm humbled. So, I mean, we have the power to heal, but we have to allow our body, like use the assistance of the universe to help us heal. And the thing I started with was, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, you don't even need medical medium or you don't need a change of diet. You just need his meditations. And what I wanted to talk about real quick is he has this meditation called Blessings of the Energy Center to align, since Caesar had talked about alignment of the energy centers. Do that. People have done that like constantly for a year, all throughout the day. Like if they had cancer or something and they've healed, like within 5-6 months, they would have gone into remission. But it's like all day long, all they do is the Blessings of the Energy Center. There is 1 through 8. I think 5, 6, 7, 8 are advanced, only available to the advanced students. I think 1 to 4 is available to everyone on his website. So
Is that Joe Dispenza?
yeah,
Okay, cool.
he has a meditation for blessing the energy center. Thank you, Caesar. Francesca, did you want to say something about this? Thank you.
Sure. I think I missed the week when you guys were discussing the topic. But wow, what a synchronicity. I love everything that Caesar and Kelly shared, and yourself, of course, in relation to this topic. I wrote little notes here to just not like just little reminders here on the sticky note, because there's so much to this topic, and you know, I resonate deeply with you and Kelly when you talk about the fact that we can change some of those soul contracts, you know, some of the things that we, you know, we've been conditioned to believe. It's in relation to health, it's just that, a belief, right? And we were heavily conditioned by it, you know, from through external means, you know, science that doesn't explode deep enough, as a result doesn't, you know, support spirituality in a way where, you know, they start to, I guess it's a field in general that's, I think, needs or has a lot of room for exploring and for growth in regards to our health. I'm a candidate of health right now, health issues in relation to, as you guys know, I have coronary heart disease. And I 9 months ago when I had the heart attack, you know, I knew I immediately knew when that shift actually physically happened in my heart, when the heart attack started. And the reason I knew it's because I physically felt it. Something was going on in my life personally that created a stress response. And it was that day that even though I've been doing all of this work, and my God, I do fierce inner work on myself. It was that day that it first came to, me recognizing that, oh my goodness, my body, my heart is wired to a stress response, even though I've had all these powerful, out of body spiritual experiences, my Kundalini rising, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, oh my God, how is this possible? Right. I thought, again, my assumption that those things would, the physical body would automatically, keep up or with the other work, that I've been doing, because I felt great. I was in probably what I referred to in the last 3 years prior to the heart attack feels to me like the prime of my health. I felt great. I was like vibrant. You could see it like in my skin. You could, I lost weight, the more, and I was like, wow, the more pain bodies I dissolved, the skinnier I became. I was glowing. It was absolutely, I did 21 days of the most amazing, powerful work with students online. I'm still with Mind Valley, but I did 21 days, of my program online, and it was absolutely amazing. So all these beautiful things were happening, and I felt such an infinite abundance of energy like I've never felt before in my entire life. And then all it took was, basically my ex threatening not to return her daughter. And suddenly it took me 8 years backwards into when I was first afraid of him taking her daughter away. And at the time I was powerless, and that's when I was living in the shelter and so forth. So all of that just came flooding back. And turns out I had unfinished paperwork in the legal system that in the last 8 years, I've so focused on inner work, developing, creating, following universe's guidance, to create my healing modality and teaching and doing all of these things I didn't know I was going to do. I didn't look back at that paperwork or even, bother to think about the things that I needed to do. And it was after the heart attack when I was watching actually Dr. Joe Dispenza's Rewired. I was like, oh my goodness, so after everything, I was watching it, and because I knew I missed something along the way. I knew my body was wired to a stress response. So even though I had done all the other work, I dissolved, all these pain bodies, and I'm getting, I have progress in all these different areas. My nervous system was doing something else. I was like, oh my God, And so it was when I was watching, and I'm glad Kelly actually touched on that, because it's when I was, as I was watching, I was actually able to, if I know we were talking about this, I would have actually brought my notes, because I made incredible, powerful discovery in relation to the nervous system, stress response, and heart disease, like specifically the heart and how, the whole thing, everything, the way it happened. I even came up with a formula, so yeah, I wish I knew we were talking about this today, because I think it's a fascinating topic. The little scientist in me, of course, gets excited, but also at the same time, I see so much room, for infinite possibility when it comes to healing. And like all three of you guys touched on the fact that, we actually have the ability to heal ourselves. The issue is we aren't taught. We aren't even speaking the language like us. We do in our groups and so forth. And that information is, being discovered and coming to the surface by people like us, Eckhart Tolle and Dr. Joe Dispenza and, Deepak Chopra and Greg Braden, all the beautiful people, all the beautiful beings in the world that are, making these discovery and teaching us. However, when I think about my reality here, I'm living in downtown Vancouver, in the heart of downtown Vancouver. I look out my window and there's like, the electrical boxes, a lot of buildings have like 5G towers all over it now, everywhere. So when I look, so even though, here I am in one of the most beautiful cities, supposed to be one of the most beautiful cities in the world, in the heart of it, I'm surrounded, my environment, I'm surrounded by what I would call a poorly built environment, an environment that doesn't support my physical health. So here I am, doing this work, I've reversed, over the years, I don't have limiting beliefs when it comes to my physical body and its ability to heal. That being said, I'm being shaken, I guess, to the very core. Like, and I'm saying that because I feel like I'm being tested. My body is fighting back. It's fighting back because it's on medications that I stopped. For the last, oh my God, over 3 years now. I've stopped pretty much all of my medication. The last 3 years, I haven't taken any blood pressure medication, none of that stuff. And again, like I mentioned, I was thriving. I was doing really, really well. And what took me out was the fact that my body was wired. My nervous system is wired, still is. I'm working on it, wired to a stress response. So even when I feel joy and I go and I have an out of body experience this morning. So this is the synchronicity, and this is how powerful this work is. And this is what excites me, because this morning of all the days, so you guys know, Poonam, I've been preparing to start this, the medical medium, and trying to, starting to cleanse and all of this stuff, right? So I'm doing the mindset work and, making little steps, doing little steps to get myself into that mode fully, so that I can, I don't want to start and quit and all of that, right? So I'm working on the mindset and I'm doing all these beautiful things. And of all the days, this morning I woke up and I hadn't meditated. I actually didn't meditate for a week because, things were kind of like, I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm exhausted. And I started praying and I started asking the universe to help me instead. I started praying and said, you know what, God, I am down. I am out. I have nothing, left. Like I was like really down and out. And so I started praying instead. And I prayed like a couple of times. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy what's left of the summer with Charlotte and so forth, and take a break. And this morning of all the days, I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm meditating. I turned on the meditation. I didn't think I was going to meditate. I turned on the meditation. And a few days ago, I was watching, I was sitting and I came to the realization. So I moved some giant energies. I did some giant healing on myself. So I dissolved some pain bodies. And then I came across, because I'm struggling with physical pain, and I think it's a manifestation of probably one or two of the medications that I'm on. And like physical pain in that my flesh feels like very heavy, and I can't even like say fold laundry in the laundry room with my arm up on the counter. Like I activate in pain here, it goes down my arm, before my whole body. I'm swelling up every single day. I'm like, I've never had these issues before, And so, physical things are coming up, and then I was like, you know what, universe, I need to do something. Like I know, I can't just stop all the activities that I'm doing because I'm in physical pain. Because since as a child, I remember I used to do, I have this mantra, mind over body, mind over body, and then I remember I'm like, I'm not just my body. I'm this infinite being, like I'm this beautiful, light. I'm consciousness, and I have the ability to, this is, the part of me, that beautiful part of us, all of us, that, when we go to sleep, we don't stop breathing. Our body is still functioning. It's doing all the things that we're supposed to do, that it's supposed to do. That's the beautiful energy that I need to tap into, to direct it to heal my body, but also my environment, again, I have to create the environment to support that healing, so it's a combination of the environment, having the tools. So the tools includes awareness, the awareness of, body mapping. For example, what's happening in the body. Like it was, for myself, I was able to figure out that formula and understand, that my body was wired to stress response, because I was able to, when I close my eyes and I meditate, I could feel that this morning as I'm meditating, I could feel, I was like, wow. So I decided to do the Wim Hof, just try the Wim Hofman for physical pain. It came to me that that's what I should try. His breathing technique combined with the cold showers. So I thought, okay. So for a few days, I was like, okay, I'm going to build up to start this, because the whole that, I used to do cold dips and stuff all the time. And now I'm like, deconditioned from it, right? I go into the shower. I'm like, I want to turn on the hot water. And so this morning when I woke up, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to do the Wim Hof breathing technique. And so as I was doing that, I realized that, well, I remembered, because my body showed me as I was doing it, that even though I'm doing this beautiful breath work, my chest, like, like deep in here, I could physically feel the places in my chest, it felt tense. I was like, whoa, it's doing a stress response. That's not what I wanted to do. So that comes that, again, awareness was one of the tools, right? And so I was like, I went into the feeling of it. So as I'm doing this, I'm also doing inner work, so I'm becoming present with that tension and that feeling inside of my chest. And I'm allowing myself to just, breathe through it. So I would do that breath, and then I would take a what I call a relaxing breath in between. And this is something I was doing. I started doing a GF Strong during physiotherapy, because I'm like, well, if I'm rewiring my nervous system, because in the gym and all of our conditioning, we were talking like, go, 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 the body can do this. And we do that. But nowhere are we breathing in between all of that stuff. We're not allowing our nervous system to adjust. So this is something I've been playing with since, from therapy at GF Strong. So I would, work with the therapist. They would tell me to do something, and then I would go in there, and right away I would do that inner work, dissolve, transform, whatever it is that needs to transform. But I would give my body that opportunity, I would take that breath and I would breathe, and I'd be like, hold on. And so what ended up happening is all the therapists there started working with me at my pace, kind of thing. And I know it's weird, but it's a good thing. It was a blessing, because I've made more progress there with my physiotherapy than I do at St. Paul's. In fact, St. Paul's Hospital, I quit the program, and I told them, I said, when I do this, it's like aerobic exercise, let's do all these things. And I'm like, and my body is going like, no, no, no. In fact, I flare up in pain, and then I'm wiped out for like a couple of days. And I can't physically, do the things that I used to. I can't even walk, because my entire body just flares up. And I'm like, you know what? My body, my entire being, my intuition, everything is telling me that this is not the right program for heart disease. This is not the right exercise for what's happening. This, we need to come back. We need to do yoga, like Qigong, Tai Chi, so smooth movements, beautiful, because we're working with the nervous system. We're working to rewire the nervous system. And I guess I can talk about this topic forever and keep going deep into it, because this is the depth, I guess, and the level of healing that I believe is missing from the current structure, the current external structure, scientifically, I guess, so to speak, right? Because, again, St. Paul's Hospital, there they are, it's a hospital, and they're trying to say, okay, so you had this heart attack and all these things, let's do some aerobic and exercise. And I can feel that it's not the right exercise. I know it's not the right exercise. I'm getting the results that it's not the right exercise. Everything is showing me that it's wrong. That's not what I need, right? So today I had this actually, I had this discussion with my nurse because today was that day when we did the call, and I said, I quit them because they had online exercise, and I'm like, it doesn't matter whether I do it online or I do it in person, the results are exactly the same. It activates the physical pain that I'm struggling with. Everything flares up and my body is saying no. And I believe it's because, my body, here I am doing this, trying to work with my nervous system and resetting that nervous system from a stress response to something that's relaxing, teaching it to relax, and then this exercise is going, do all these things.
I
That
think
doesn't
Kelly
work.
has something for
Kelly,
you.
I think, wants to say something.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, I was just wanted to add to what Francesca was saying there about like when physical pain comes up, is that often it's because there's something that we need to release. But if we don't, like, if you're not listening to what the message is that your body or what you're feeling, it'll keep reoccurring. And I know that for my own self in my own healing, because I'll release something and it'll be like, like the other day it was my hips, and I'm like, why does this hurt again? And then I just have to listen and I have to ask the question, and I'm not going to get an answer right away. And but I just have to sometimes be still and quiet and not push myself. Like there's a lot of things that she said that were good. Like sometimes you have to listen to make sure that you're working with the right people for your own recovery. Because for me in my health journey, that was really important, was to find the people that would actually listen to what I was saying, because I wasn't saying things because, oh, I'm trying to diagnose myself, but I wanted I wanted someone to hear me when I'm
Yeah.
saying, no, this is what's happening. Don't tell me what you think is happening to me. But
200%.
right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
honestly, like, because I know Caesar had said too, like with our medical system, we have a symptom and someone goes, oh, this is what's the matter with you. But that's not necessarily what might be wrong. We just need to find the right people to work with us.
Exactly.
So our physical pain is really important to listen to, because we can do one of two things. You can say, oh my God, I'm in so much pain today. Why am I? And you can complain about it. Or you can go, geez, why am I hurting today? Or
Yes.
I feel stuffed up, or I feel nauseous. Okay, instead of going into the spiral and saying, oh man, I wish I didn't feel sick, or wanting something else to be true, ask yourself, okay, why is this happening today? And like I said, you might not get an answer right away, but the more you ask yourself, you will start to hear answers. And you'll
Oh,
start to be able to
absolutely.
actually find, like Poonam was saying, too, attracting those things to you that resonate with you for your own health.
Absolutely. When we ask and you shall receive is my favorite mantra, because this morning in my meditation, as I was, as I'm meditating, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm going to do the Wim Hof, and I'm doing the breathing. Suddenly I saw with great clarity, remember I struggled to drink celery juice. I saw this recipe in my mind. I'm like, I saw, celery juice, and I saw some ginger and a garlic, like a whole garlic, one little what do you call it, of garlic. And I'm like, oh my God, if I add a couple of things to the celery juice, then I'll be able to drink it. I wouldn't get dizzy. And so I did that this morning, right? So like today I'm like on this beautiful, I started off, again with this regime, and here we are having this beautiful topic. And like Kelly said, it's important that we're having the right people as well in our healing journey when we're working with the physical body is also important, because if they're not going to listen to you because they already, supposedly know everything, then we're the ones that are capable of hearing, listening to our body. We know what we're feeling, especially when we're in this state of pure awareness, right? We're aware of what's going on, not that we're self-diagnosing, but like Kelly said, we have to hear ourselves first, right? And that's the beauty of this journey. It equips us with the tools and the ability to listen, to hear ourselves, to understand what's going on, right? So for myself, the physical pain, I believe from what I'm receiving is directly related to my actual arteries being blocked. So even though they did a triple bypass surgery, they were only able to do it for 3 arteries. We have like, I think 8 or 7. I've lost, I forgot how many. I have a picture of my heart. All the other ones are still blocked. So what's happening is I'm not getting, technically, if we think about it this, I'm not getting enough oxygen into my body, which is why I came up with the Wim Hofmann, method, because that helped, that breathing technique helps to produce, more, it helps with my cell renewal and all of that, those beautiful things, right? And so I'm not getting enough oxygen into my body, excepting through these 3 arteries that they created, right? They made them like the bridge, right? And so I believe that's the source of the physical pain. Because I've again, I've been asking, I've done so much, deep, all that trauma work, the whole 9 yards. And this is the only thing that's coming up that combined with the medication. So I believe the diabetes medication is horrific. I don't believe in it, but they put me on it and they're telling me that I have to take it. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't have to, because I've healed diabetes before. And I'm aware of what I need to do. And so again, it's like interesting thing, beautiful synchronicity. We're talking about this because this morning I started that whole regime. I started the breakfast bowl that I eat for the diabetes and all of that stuff. Well, I had the shake, but I did the breakfast bowl after. And so, yeah, I've been, eating really well all day today. And yeah, here we are with this beautiful, this beautiful topic. I know it's difficult to believe, because yeah, the Buddha said, suffering is inevitable. And when we look at, beautiful beings like Thich Nhat Hanh and, Yogananda and many other beings, they've all, died of some form of disease, right? But here is what I'm learning from this journey, is that, so this is where it gets, I'm going to try my best to put this into words. So here we are in this physical realm, right? We have this dual consciousness, right? So there's the higher self, the beautiful light being that we are, right? The part of us that we refer to as God, source, we experience it between the breath, that silence, that beautiful pure awareness, the part of us that could connect to multiple dimensions and allow us to experience the wisdom of all of the divine beings before us, and so forth. And then there is the part of us here, me, Francesca, sitting, and I'm sharing this beautiful work, wisdom from, this work that I've done and from what I've learned over the years, from Eckhart Tolle and Thich Nhat Hanh, and, putting it all together kind of thing. And I'm doing my thing, right? I found that from my own experience that I can go into meditation, into that silence, and I can be there in that state of pure the thing is I can just be there. I'm not thinking, the mind is not on, I'm not teaching, I'm not taking care of my daughter, I'm not, I'm not participating in this external reality, which is the human, which is also part of who we are. Now, the moment I step out and, because my daughter's like, mama, because she's 50 questions or something, or she wants my attention, or, I have to do the dishes, I have to, so the moment I step out of this, even though I try to take that presence with me and I immerse in like, so dishwashing has become a meditative thing, cooking, it's not like that with everything, because if my daughter suddenly calls me or something, then to ask me a question, then my mind is, I'm out of the state of, I'm entering a different state of consciousness. And then everyday life and so forth, right? What I'm finding is and it's interesting because she's 11, she's the one that told me the key to, she did, I have like 3 pages of notes of downloads that she delivered, she channeled. But the key is for me to find balance. So she actually had me draw a diagram of the yin yang, the yin and yang energy with the S in the middle. She said, "You see that line in the middle, Mom?" She's like, "That's the gray line. That's where that's what you need to find. That's where you need to be, to balance both," right? And it's like this powerful, I have like diagrams. It's like this powerful download. I'm actually still integrating it. Still working on integrating it, right? And I guess what I'm trying to put into words is I find that when I move into different states of consciousness, it impacts my ability to stay in that state of consciousness that I'm aware I need to be in order to physically heal myself. So I'm in this dualistic role, right? Where, I have to do these things, right? I go to therapy and all of that, right? The physiotherapy, Monday I start swim therapy and so forth. So there's all these external things that I have to do. And then there's the other part of me. And the reality is I can't sit here in my apartment and meditate all day because I have responsibilities. And to me, that is like the biggest or the biggest block in relation to, because those of us who have done this work, we were called forth to become teachers. And so we're teaching. Even when we're teaching, we're in a different state of consciousness. We're teaching from that presence, but we're also doing something external, outside, external. We're giving our energy externally. And so I'm finding that, shifting from that one state to the next is I guess where I need to find balance, because to me, that's probably why. My guess is, like I said, I'm still exploring this area. My guess is that's probably why, I can see probably it's why people like Thich Nhat Hanh and Yoganand and so forth, passed away from heart disease, right? And because these are beings that are light years ahead of me, I believe in the journey in this regards. They have, more wisdom than you can possibly imagine, the more, deeper depths of understanding in this regards. And at the end of the day, it seems like, here we are in this human form, facing the same possibility. And I believe it's because our environment doesn't support us. We don't have the appropriate tools. We're not taught about, things like our nervous system, and hey, this is how that awareness. We're not even guided in relation to, other than, again, the divine beings that guide us, like Eckhart and so forth. Outside of that, we're not guided by science or anything else in relation to, this is how, these are the things that you do every single day in order to come into that state of pure awareness, in order to embody, that state of pure awareness and access that wisdom that will equip you with the ability for you to know what you need to do for you to heal your physical body. And this is why I believe there is so much room right now. I say the portal is wide open for infinite possibility, even in science. But because there's so, sadly, there's a lot of money involved, and a little bit, I want to say parts of it is so closed-minded. They're not even seeing that there's opportunity actually for abundance if they were to explore these other areas when it comes to the healing of our physical body. So that's, I'm like, oh my God, they think they're making money now. This is like even more, powerful, because this work is so powerful. we can actually have real, we have people like Dr. Joe Dispenza who've experienced real healing, and Kelly and so forth, and even myself from other, health issues and so forth. So there is that portal which is wide open for, this depth of wisdom to emerge and for us to learn. That's kind of my babble. I'm just like, I know a little bit all over on the topic. But yeah, this is a big topic for me, and it's something I'm still exploring deeply as I work on healing my own physical body, or at least as far as the universe will allow me to. Because one of the key important thing is also making sure that my ego state of mind doesn't cling to the fact, cling to wanting to control, right? And so I have to be in awareness of that as well. And so, yeah, I'm going with the flow, in presence, and allowing whatever to unfold.
Thank you, Francesca. Kelly
Mhm.
said, that is what we need to do, is take our lessons and shifts and make them our practical reality. So, and Caesar said, well said.
Yeah.
What I would say is what I heard, the gist of what I heard you say, and one of the things is, no matter what is going on in my life, Francesca, I never miss meditation. Never. Every single day, that is my priority. I mean, everything else, whether it's cooking, whether it is taking care of something, everything else is relegated to secondary order. It's secondary. Primary is the meditation, because all the healing, especially since I'm going to be attending the advanced retreat,
Yes.
all the more they're asking us to actually delve into the work, right? So it's like I did back-to-back Blessings of the Energy Center on Saturday. It's like, whether it was 1 o'clock in the morning, like it took me until 1 o'clock in the morning to do all that much meditation. That was what was needed, because that's what he's saying, right? We cannot heal without the meditation, without doing the work. So that is the most important. The other thing is if your arteries are clogged, as you do the medical medium protocol, you're eating fat-free food, right? The reason why we have calcification in our arteries is because our liver is not functioning. The main reason for everything is a stagnant and sluggish liver. Your doctor is working on your heart, but your heart is not the problem. It's your liver that is the problem, right? So the more we, that's why everything, the liver rescue brought, everything, the liver rescue smoothie, everything that heals the liver, as we keep eating the asparagus, as we keep eating the spinach, as we keep eating all the things that will heal my liver, which happened in my case,
Yeah.
right? I had neuropathy in my foot. Like I would wake up and put my foot down, and there would be a burning sensation in the bottom of my feet. And I just realized in the past few months that no longer is there pain. Like I had to wear shoes. Like the moment I woke up, I had to wear shoes. And the other day, a few months back, I put my foot down without the shoes, and I was like, there is no pain. And I didn't even realize that I had healed that pain. You know, it's that much of a difference, but that's what we are healing. And I know I have another few, maybe another year of it. And I still will, even after I heal completely, even after I, maybe my body changes and everything between Dr. Joe Dispenza's work and medical medium. However, I'm going to keep doing the protocol, because I know that with the environmental pollution, like you're saying, right? One thing is, no matter whether it's 5G, 4G, our cell phone, the monitor, whatever electromagnetic frequency all around us, there's something called angel of disarmament, according to medical medium. You ask the angel of disarmament to not harm you, whatever, even if you eat conventional, right? Sometimes I have to get conventional celery. Maybe I get eight stalks of 8 things of organic celery. Maybe 2 of them are conventional. I just call the angel of disarmament and say, let this celery juice, whatever I'm drinking from this conventional celery, let it still heal me, right?
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. No matter what is, we are in big cities. I'm in Dallas, Texas, in a huge big city, surrounded by buildings, surrounded by whatever electromagnetic frequency. We have the power to keep our vibrational energy up. And the
Absolutely.
vibrational energy is dependent on the food we eat. And that's what Louise was saying online as well. She said that the nutrition and meditation, between nutrition and meditation, she's kept her vibrational frequency up, right? The nutrition supports the meditation. It works hand in hand together. We may think, even though Dr. Joe Dispenza says that the nutrition doesn't matter, it does help. I'm like and Louise is a great example. Both of us have experienced like highest vibrational state is because of what I ate. I ate spinach today and I can feel it, like I feel the energy going through my body, right? And it's fat free. Everything that I ate is fat free. These potatoes, these steamed potatoes or baked potato, there's no fat in it. There's no sour cream or butter or oil or anything in that, right? And
So
simple.
Yeah, sorry. So what I was going to say, for myself, and I believe I think I understand what Dr. Joe Dispenza means when he says the nutrition doesn't matter. Is before I came into that state of pure awareness, before I started to embody more mindfulness in the earlier parts of my journey, when I didn't know what to eat, and I was still eating meat, I was eating every single thing the way I did before. I still had some of the most powerful experiences, spiritual experiences, and I agree with you. It doesn't matter the environment, 5G, 10G, whatever, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it comes down to our practice, right? And if we're meditating every single day, it doesn't really matter, nothing else really matters, because we will have those experiences as long as we're, practicing, we're doing the work, we're embodying the whole 9 yards, right? In that regards. So I agree with you, the environment, but it does play a role, because now that I'm in that state of awareness, and, I'm more, so aware that I'm in a way, I don't want to say sensitive, but in a way I am sensitive to the energies around me. I could feel the difference, for example, when I go to the monastery and I'm there, there isn't any, it's all natural, all nature and so forth. Whereas when I come here, as soon as I enter, this space, I feel an actual physical difference. When I went to the retreat on Bowen Island, again, it was absolutely amazing. Like the actual physically, my body felt a lot better. I was making more progress. I was waking up and all, motivated and doing my healing regime without effort. Whereas, and as soon as I came back here, all of a sudden, slowly, I can feel like it's almost, there was one point I actually physically wanted to just like scoop the inside of my apartment out, because I'm like, okay, something is here.
Caesar wants to
He
say
probably did it too, I think.
Caesar, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask Francesca, do you think that's part of maybe a mindset? Like
A limiting belief in itself, right? That's a
limited
limiting belief. Yes.
and almost like a conditioned intention, like just like a segment intention. It's just conditioned that when you go back to that place, that this energy is going to be this particular way. But don't forget, you have the power to
To
create
dominate.
this energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
And
Absolutely.
you can change that whole forte and that thought that energy is going to inflict itself on you. You can be the dominant energy in the room, and what you felt at the retreat is available to you here and now, wherever you're at, always.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank
Under
you.
whose
I agree.
influence are you? Are you under the influence of source, or are you under the influence of your environment? So what you're doing is you're allowing your environment and then the environment is going to signal your genes. You're
Mm,
down regulating
That's
your
right.
genes by thinking that just because you're in Vancouver with 5G and all the buildings, you'll down regulate your genes. And
That's true.
exactly,
And it never bothered me before. That is so true. Yes.
so
Wow.
what you need to do is use your mind, and that's what Dr. Joe Dispenza is saying. No matter where you are, no matter what environment you are in, your intention of I'm in gratitude, I'm in empowered, I'm divine, I'm unlimited genius. You condition your body to experience those feelings, right?
Absolutely.
And when you condition your body dominates the environment. Your body says,
Yeah.
yeah, there's 5G, but I know I'm an unlimited genius. No matter there's 5G, I'm an
Yeah.
unlimited genius. No matter there's all these people with pain bodies, I dominate this.
Yeah.
Like Caesar is saying,
Thank you
right?
for that reminder. I love the way you actually said it because it reminded me because what happens is I'm okay like that, and then as soon as I flare up in pain, it's like, oh, the body just that's me, like the body
Because your
fights back,
body is
and then I
dragging you
kind
in
of
the
go,
past.
yes, it's dragging me into
In the past
exactly.
emotion and past physical pain. And
Yes.
you're going into some kind of stress response. And what you need to do is make meditation your primary thing, that
Thank
no
you.
matter
Yeah.
what, I will do 3 hours of meditation every day because that's what my body needs, because it
Yeah.
needs to relax, right? The arteries need to relax. And then as you do the diet, both will support. You're getting B12 anyway, so the nervous system will get better. And then with the support of the body, like physical body, the nutrition, diet, nutrition, meditation, you'll feel better.
Oh, absolutely. And I believe that. I believe that. You know, I just feel like sometimes it's like beating the crap out of me, pardon me for lack of a better word, just yeah, with everything that's been coming up. Because I keep getting pulled into doing deep inner work. And then I'm like exhausted, and then it's like, oh my God. So I can see there's like a pattern there because it's like as soon as you know I make progress and I'm in this beautiful, you know, I'm back to like, wow, something comes up, you know, and it's like, and
That's
it's
again a
it's
limiting
a
belief.
test. It is
That's
a limiting belief, but that limiting belief is probably what's attracting this stuff to come up externally, right? Because it's something external, you know, in relation to my mom, in relation to, you know, my sister, and I'm like, my God, I just excavated, you know,
but
I just
whatever is
yeah.
happening externally, your external world, our personality is creating our personal reality, Francesca.
Oh, of
You are
course.
giving attention where attention goes, energy flows. You're giving attention to your sister. You're giving attention to
Yeah.
your mother's situation. Take
Yeah.
your energy back, like you said last week, right?
Yes.
Get your
And
energy back. Kelly, you were
yeah.
saying
And they
something?
call me like 50 times. As soon as I do that, then they keep calling all the time and like talking about mom. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I've had to say no. But it's, yeah. And then I get pulled back in, you know, into the conversation. And
Well,
Just
and
tell
it's
them,
yeah, it's you need
but
to
I
really
know.
like stay in your own space.
Yeah.
And because the outside world, when you shift your inner world and you change, like you said, when you feel so good, all of a sudden you have all these people bombarding you. That's kind of the way this works, is because that's the challenge, is to hold your space and hold that energy inside, even though other people are trying to get your attention. And you can either give it all away to them, or you can keep it like focused inside and say, you know what? I can't help you right now, but I'm listening to you and I will talk to you later. Like we all have had to do that with people. And it's so easy when people want our attention, especially if we have kids, right? They want our
Yeah.
attention. Everything outside of us wants our attention, but it depends how you're going to give your attention. Are you going to give all your energy away, or are you going to keep it here and then
Yeah.
be like, I still have that good feeling inside. I
Thank you
still
so
feel
much for
okay.
that. That is
I still feel okay.
exactly what I've been, I think that's what I've been doing because I just give all the energy, you know, and I get, you know, calls and
I
I
feel,
give all the energy and
I
then
feel,
I'm
Francesca,
like,
Francesca, what I feel is even though you say you don't want to be involved with your mother, there is
Yeah.
something in you that wants to be involved
That's
in your
pulling
mother.
me. Yes. Yeah.
You still have a belief in you that wants to be involved. Like you have not surrendered and you have not disentangled completely. If you would have disentangled, they would
I
not call
wouldn't get
you.
pulled. That's right.
So
right.
you need to look at that you still have not cut that cord. You need to cut
Yeah.
it completely and say, I do not need. And when your sister calls, you just text them and say, I do not need to talk about my mother. I
Mhm.
have to focus on me. I have to
Yeah.
focus on, I have an 11-year-old that is dependent on me. Because I need to focus on me, why do I need to focus on me? I have an 11-year-old dependent that I need to wait until she's 18 at least. I can pass away when she's 18, but until 18, I need to make sure that she's okay,
Yeah.
right? So for
Yeah.
that reason, I have one priority. It is taking care of myself. Nobody else. No mother, no sister, no this thing. And an 11-year-old. I have two things.
Yeah.
One, myself. Two, 11-year-old. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah,
Nothing
and
else
then
matters.
don't be concerned with the response, because from that is you're probably not going to like the response, but that's none of your business. So there's
Yeah.
where your
Yes,
practice
that's
comes
a
in.
good one. I caught myself when that happened like a few days ago. I was like,
Because
no,
you gotta know
no.
that the ego is going to be attacking you
Yeah.
with that type of a
Guilty.
response.
Bringing you to that old this thing, and that's when you say change. Remember
Well,
last week I said
Yeah.
when they pull
But-
you into guilt, say change. Go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
no, that's okay, because I was gonna expand on something you said about how you want to be involved. It's okay to want to be involved in other people's lives, but the question is how. How do you want to be involved? Do you want them taking your energy and feeling in that bad space and giving it away,
No,
or are you going to hold your power and hold
definitely
your own
hold my
space?
power. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and if you do need to cut ties with people, like whoever is listening to this on that's not, on the Zoom call, that it's also okay to step back and say, I cannot be involved right now for my own health or my own reasons or whatever. It's basically what's best for you. So it's not to say that I can't be involved in, because I had to step back from my family for a while years ago, but I was still involved with them. But it was my choice in how I involved myself. Did I involve myself in all the drama and everything that was bringing me down, or did I hold my space? That's a really good question to ask yourself.
Yeah,
Anyone.
absolutely. And you hit it on the nail on the head, Kelly, when you said, I'm aware that I have to cut ties. And then what Poonam said, I am cutting ties, but then there's that little part of me somewhere, and I can feel there is a part of me somewhere, right? That's not fully letting go, right?
It needs to let
And
go. It needs to let
I
go
need
and
to,
say,
yeah, this week I told Charlotte, I'm like, okay, we're not going to be, just because I'm starting my regime, we're not going to be seeing anybody this week. We're not going to be doing any play dates. We're not going to have any friends. And she's like, why, Mom? And I'm like, I just need to do this for me so that I can get, started and rooted in my, regime and so forth. And so that my, I can stay grounded and practice staying in my power and doing, what I know I need to do without my consciousness getting pulled in different directions at the moment, right? So, yeah.
thank you, Francesca.
Thank
We
you.
have not let Patricia talk at all, so I am so sorry,
Patricia.
Patricia. I just wanted to cover all her points. Thank you,
that's
Kelly
not-
and Caesar. Sorry.
That's
Go
not
ahead.
your fault, Poonam. It's Francesca's fault. She had so many things to share. Yes, thank you for having me today and letting me be on the panel, even though I'm a little bit under the weather. And what came out to me for me is that the answer to the main question you asked, can we override the soul's contract? We can and we can't. And I think it's
No,
just,
we can. That's what we are saying.
right, I know that that's what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that we cannot,
But that's a limiting belief.
right? And the other answer is that we can, because both answers are correct. And the reason why I'm saying this is that the one, I'm gonna actually bring a quote, I believe it's from Henry Ford. What he said, that what you think you can or can't, you're right. So if you choose to believe that you can overwrite your soul's contract, first of all, you got to know your soul's contract. What is your soul's contract? Well, and then if you decide that you can override it, go ahead, do it. And that's what Joe Dispenza shows how. He shows the way, but he's not going to tell you you can or you cannot. You got to decide it for yourself. And actually, something came out for me from one of the movies titled Some Things That Lord Made. I don't know if any of you is familiar with the movie, but it was about very first heart surgery done in Hopkins Hospital in the United States. And there was a blue children's syndrome because there was not enough flow of blood with oxygen into the heart. And at that point, the entire world, all the doctors everywhere in the world, they say, you do not touch heart. You do not do surgery on the heart. And that was like against the medical and even God's law, because it's something that Lord's made. So if the Lord made the heart with a failure, you leave it be. And you let the child die, because the children were not able to live past, I think, year old, because they were turning blue and then there was no way to live. And there was this one guy, I forgot his name, but it's a true story. And in his head, he imagined that happening. And then he was at that point, he was a Black man. So he was not even allowed to be a doctor. He was only a technician. But he paired up with the white doctor that was like head of the surgery there. And it was so genius that almost like the consciousness spoke through him. And I remember that one of the mother, the whole argument, she said, please help my child. But the husband and the whole entire religious and the community said, you cannot let this man do this because Lord made this that way. And I remember it was eye-opening for me in that movie when she said to the priest, what if the God's plan was for this doctor to save my child? And that was the soul's contract as I'm seeing it. So I'm thinking, when April said, what if disease is part of your soul's contract? And then part of that soul's contract is also to overcome it and to use, Dr. Joe Dispenza's ways to heal. But then some other people may not have that in their contract. So that's why I can't answer yes or no. It's just what you believe when you aligned with the source. And the key, I think what Caesar mentioned, is that high state of the gratitude, because it is high state. And from that state, the message, I guess, come through very clearly, versus when you're in lower states with the fears and fight and flights and in low energy, you can't make the right decision. Because I mean, ask yourself how many good decisions you made when you were in the low states, like when you're angry, when you weak, when you're sick, like how many really good decisions you made out of state. But then when you find your way, because everybody might have a different way to get to the high state, when you find the way that works for you to get yourself in that highest state, and then make the decisions from there, you know, what's the right one, you know. And for many people that's suffering, I think Rupert Spira also said that, I found very useful the way he put it in words, that we want to get rid of suffering, right? That's human beings wants to have a nice life, so they want to get rid of suffering. So, but the suffering really is not the problem. It's almost like a symptom of the resistance of the situation we're in. So you don't really have to get rid of suffering. You just go and accept the situation you're in exactly as is. And that's what Eckhart Tolle always goes to every talk. You know, live as you chose this. Live the present moment as it is. Live it and be there. You are the present moment. And that's such empowerment. So again, if I'm in the present moment and I choose to overcome my disease, my suffering, that's what I chose. But if I'm dying, and that's what I chose too. So that's where the soul's contracts, I think, it comes in.
Actually, what the way April, so we were talking about, I was exactly explaining what Dr. Joe Dispenza says, which is what I've explained in this Q&A, that no matter who you are, no matter how fat, thin, what disease state you are, you have the capacity to heal. And to that, April said, no, but that person will have a soul that means certain people will not heal. Here, Dr. Joe Dispenza is saying, no matter who you are, no matter how horrible your disease state, whether you have Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, stage 4 cancer, you can heal as long as you do the work, right? No matter,
Yes, capacity. So everybody has the capacity. So with that, I agree.
Right? But that's not what April said. April said, no, but that person will have a soul contract. And then Kelly, Kelly's partner, was in our messenger chat. I brought that up because I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all can go look at the recording. I said, but April, that is a limiting belief. When you say
Oh,
that,
you think that soul's contract is a limiting belief?
When you say that, oh, I'm going to live out my soul contract anyway, that I don't have the power to override it. And
but you don't know what your soul contract is. How can you know what your soul contract is?
No, she's expecting that is the soul contract, that this person will not heal. Whatever, according to their soul contract, maybe this person will not heal, right? That's what she's saying. What I'm saying is that becomes a limiting belief as well. And that's what Kelly was explaining just now as well, right?
I guess it's the argument between destiny and free choice, freedom of choice.
I think in the end, no matter what happens, if, you know, maybe that's part of your soul contract is to overcome a disease. Maybe it's part of your soul contract to go through it and not, because we know and understand that nobody gets out of here but only on God's time. When it's our time to go, we're going. And there's no stopping it. There's no changing it.
And we don't
Um,
get to choose either.
So here he
But I
says,
have a
I,
question.
I think we choose before we get here.
Yeah.
here
You know, I
he
believe
says,
everything is mapped out, and I think that's what the soul contract is. We
thank
create
you.
it. Why would we go against it?
Poonam, I have a question.
One second,
Um,
Francesca.
uh-huh.
I'm gonna just read out what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, every place where one neuron connects with another neuron is called a memory. As we prune away the old circuits, then the memory of the old self is literally gone in the brain. Where is that memory stored? In the soul as wisdom. So that's how we heal, is by when we fire and wire new states in our neuron, which is the firing and wiring of that I'm an unlimited genius, that I am empowered, that I'm a mystic, I'm a healer. As we heal, then that's when we prune away the old circuits. And that is just stored as a memory. It prunes away the old circuit of, oh, I'm guilty or I'm fearful or whatever are the fight and flight um, emotions. The other thing he says, which I read last week, is the intention to heal is the amplitude of the decision carries a level of energy that is greater than the hardwired programs in your brain in the past and the emotional addictions in your body in the past. Then you accept and believe and surrender to thoughts that are equal to your emotional state. So that's how the amplitude of the decision to heal needs to carry a level of energy that is greater than the hardwired programs in our brain in the past. Only then can we heal. We are
That's
not,
just conditioning, right? Right?
we,
They're basically saying that's just the conditioned mind, and we have the ability to change that. And then once we do that, we have the ability
exactly. But
to
that
heal. And
amplitude has to be of that level, that it is higher than the hardwired programming of our brain in the past, as well as of the body in the past. And the body is where all the conditioning is stored. Go ahead,
So
Francesca, you were asking.
on that level, we are all the same, though. What he is saying, that since we are not our bodies, there is an energy involved. So we have that capacity to heal no matter what our physical body's done. So yes, but I'm not sure if that's the same as Saul's contract.
And the question I was going to ask is in relation to what Patricia said and Dr. Joe Dispenza, because I agree with what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. I also at the same time don't want to dismiss the notion of soul contract. So for example, like the Christ, his crucifixion, his soul contract was he was supposed to allow that crucifixion to happen, right? Because he came here to teach us certain lessons. And so that's what happened to us. That's unfortunately that's what happened, right? Now that being said, that entire story and the parts in relation to the story has to do with us and our evolution, the pain body and so forth, right? My question is, if let's say Dr. Joe Dispenza 100% right, because I believe what he's saying, again, with the right support. And Kelly asked a beautiful question: how much work are we willing to do? So, if we put in the right work, so it's not just putting in the work, but it's the right work and so forth, having the right environment. When I look at people like, Thich Nhat Hanh and Yoganand and so forth, they were eating properly. They were they were in the right environment and so forth, and yet they died of the same disease, that like heart disease in that regards, right? How do you, I guess, how would we, because this is a question I've been kind of juggling around in my head too, is how do we, I guess, look at it in relation to, when we hear Dr. Joe Dispenza saying that, and then we see these divine beings with the right wisdom, the right mindset, the whole 9 yards, the right environment, the right foods and so forth, and then this happens to them. How do we explain that?
We may think that they're
How-
eating the right things, Francesca. They may not be eating the right things, because I think Thich Nhat Hanh still ate meat, and that clogs arteries, right? And we don't know if, even though they've achieved a certain level of
Mysticism.
like a certain level of awakening, a certain level of enlightenment, does not mean all the time that they are at that level of enlightenment.
Yeah, no,
Does that make
it's
sense?
difficult to be in that level. Yes. Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because they're moving
That
around in
makes
the
sense.
world and everything. So they're going through the stress. And he was exiled from his country, right? Vietnam.
Yeah,
He-
so it's
he was
highly
sent to-
unlikely he
So
was eating the right food.
there's fight and flight in him too. He has been exposed to the fight and flight
Conditioning.
The
conditioning
yeah.
of the.
But he would have
Thank
healed
you,
that,
Caesar.
right? I mean,
Not
to
if he's not
experience that
focusing.
level of enlightenment and that
Not if
wisdom
he's
that
not
brings
focusing on
healing.
his healing of his physical body. Not if he's not focusing on. He may be focusing on his teachings. He may be, where attention goes, energy flows, right? He may not be focusing on the healing of his internal body. He may be focusing on externally improving his following, right?
I think he ate the meat in his younger years towards the end, like probably his last 10, 15 years. He was very dedicated within his diet.
Yeah,
Thich Nhat Hanh, after he got his stroke, right?
yeah.
How about you, Caesar? Do
Uh,
you eat any special foods, or did your diet change after your transformation or before?
It did, but I'm slowly slipping. So like I started to eat all organic stuff for starters, and then I went to an I don't want to say off fruit diet. And that little amount of time that I was really dedicated to my diet, I felt so light and amazing. And now I'm laxed again and, slip back into not eating so healthy. But it's something I plan on changing in the very near future to get back, because I did get a little taste of that awesome, amazing energy. And yeah, I mean, for the work that I do, it's almost required of me. So by the end of the day, there's nothing in the tank left for me. And I know I have the ability to change that too. It's important. Like in the yoga
But
culture,
yes, do
they
it. You already
yeah.
have the answer.
I'll wrap this up with, and I'm grateful, Kelly and Caesar and Francesca and Patricia, that everyone showed up, like eternally grateful for it. I'll wrap
And
this
we're
up.
grateful for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yes, Poonam.
I'll wrap it up by, so yesterday, I think yesterday was the 6th, right? So it's called Ekadashi. It's like 4 days before, it's 4 days before the full moon, right? I think it's 4 days before the full moon and 4 days before the new moon. Sadhguru was saying our body does not need that much food. So actually in India, that day is a day of fasting. And I noticed that myself, that I did not eat that much food yesterday. I was posting to my medical medium chat group that all I did for lunch was banana and almond milk smoothie, and it was just enough, like, to put me through all day long. I didn't have anything else.
Have you ever seen Sadhguru's diet?
No.
It is incredibly small but powerful. So he don't eat anything that was picked last week. It has to be fresh off a tree right now, pulled right out of the garden. And his portions, the guy's like what, 6'3", 6'4", 200 pounds, not an ounce of fat on the guy. He literally has like 3 spinach leaves in the morning with maybe 3 grapes and 2 nuts and maybe a berry. I don't
think
believe
he has a date in the morning, right? They were showing.
Yeah. Yeah, his portion is like,
Very
we would
low.
just like be like, move. And then his evening meals usually happen around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because he says it's very important not to go to sleep with food in your stomach.
Yes.
That's
And
huge.
And that's what you'll notice, Francesca, as you keep doing the medical medium diet, the morning food gets digested by the evening. So you'll go on an empty stomach, and I've slept on an empty stomach every night almost for the past 2 years.
Oh,
If you're eating
yeah, I
the right,
agree with that. I've experienced it. Yeah, yes. My everybody still tells me I eat bird food. They call it I eat like a bird because as you and this naturally happens, I believe, as we move into higher states of consciousness, we, something happens, the stomach changes and we don't eat as much as, we were conditioned to eat because even with Charlotte, sometimes she would be I said, okay, yeah, you can stay up a little bit extra tonight. And then she would want to, she's like, well, can I watch TV? And I'm like, we don't have a TV, but she watches it on the laptop. And I'd be like, no, you don't want to, have that type of stimulation before sleep. Because what I've noticed happen, because I've allowed it to happen too, is she would watch whatever, her favorite show. And then she'd be, oh, I'm hungry. And I'm like, are you hungry? Or is it your mind that's telling you, that you're hungry? And then she would stop and she's like, you know what, Mama? You're right. My stomach is actually physically full. And I'm like, exactly. Right. And so we kind of play with stuff like that. But I agree. Like Caesar said, Sadhguru. Plus I think Sadhguru is eating doesn't he eat Ayurvedic diet as well too? Probably, right? So I assumed everybody does. Like I assume Thich Nhat Hanh and yeah, Yogananda and stuff. I assume
I
they
don't
all
think
eat
so.
Ayurvedic diet, but yeah, that was just assumption.
the best way to diet is to just pay attention to how you feel after you eat whatever it
Yeah,
is you eat.
I
And
agree.
if you're really conscious and, in this presence power that we all strive for, your body will just
Will
simply
guide
not
you.
be attracted, yeah, to that stuff that just isn't
Automatically.
chronic. Yeah, right. And the food should process through you in 4 hours too, if
Yes.
eating properly. If it takes 10 hours to get through you, then there's probably
Or three
Something
days. Or
wrong.
3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
To all our Dr. Joe Dispenza talk, Kimberly actually said that she bought Becoming Supernatural and the companion workbook. So yay. So we have success. Somebody believed in Dr. Joe Dispenza. So have a fantastic night, everyone. Many blessings, much love. Eternally grateful. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Kelly. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.